So, if you're a spiritual seeker or an awakening soul, you may have noticed there are some things that help you awaken, some moments, some techniques, some various ways to meditate, and outside of that time, you somehow don't feel that awakened state most of the time, most people. And you somehow always yearn for that connection back, that connection to your true self, your divinity. But somehow you get pulled back into the mundane, the, the ego consciousness, the mainstream consciousness, right? But there is this particular insight I got from the Bardo Thodal, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which came back to me in a whole new form. Life brought it back into my consciousness, which made it so much more powerful, that I want to give today to you, which can actually help you be connected consciously in every moment with your divinity. And this is really powerful. It really works. In my experience, it really works, and it can for you. By the way, my name is Ran Nature. I'm a spiritual awakening mentor, and I've worked on spirituality on myself my entire life, and I've been a mentor for several years, helped hundreds of different people. And this insight is from that work that I've done. And if you are ready, this is really going to help you. But even if you're not fully there yet, this will plant a seed in your mind, just like it did for me, reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead a long time ago, and then suddenly it coming back. So listen to this carefully. This insight is that, directly quoting, let's start from the quote itself, from the Bardo Thodal quote, the Tibetan Book of the Dead quote, which is, recognition is liberation. Recognition is liberation. In 3 words. And the middle word is just like, equals. It's like a mathematical formula. It gives you the formula so simply, so beautifully. Recognition is liberation. But how do you apply that formula? Application is where it all is, right? Recognition is liberation. What they mean in the Bardo Thodal context is, as you are going through your Bardo, which is the intermediate state between death and the next life, rebirth, there is this space where somebody goes through these different dimensions, you might say different stages of going through experiences where God or enlightenment or their true nature comes to them again and again, first in beautiful, soft, loving, divine forms, which are easier to recognize. But if they don't recognize it, then the forms become more and more wrathful. Like, first come these deities who are like smiling and blessing, and they have flowers in their hands and beautiful light, and hopefully you will recognize that as your divinity. and you will get liberated. See, recognition is liberation. It starts with all these beautiful forms. But if you don't recognize it because you still have karmas, samskaras, which are blocking your recognition of your own true nature, what happens is life still wants to help you as much as possible. So it goes through many different forms, which become more and more powerful in the hopes of you recognizing that divinity as your own. And it also amps it up, that you see all of this as divinity. So amping it up means it can become wrathful. We've begun with beautiful deities, right? Then it becomes like a haruka, which is like a monster-like appearance of a huge deity with a big red body, several arms holding uh, weapons in their hands instead of flowers. There is fire everywhere and loud screeching sounds screaming at you to be recognized and to be surrendered to. So instead of like lovingly recognizing, now you can have the opportunity to surrender out of fear, and it still works in that way as long as you just recognize divinity. So this repeated theme of recognition is liberation, again and again, as I was hearing it, it sunk into me deeper and deeper. And I had insight even during the listening of that. But when this theme that I saw, it's not just in the Bardo Thodal that this happens. The teaching of Bardo Thodal, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, is for the living, the moment right now. In this moment, you can apply it. The same principle applies, and it need not be dramatic. A deity need not appear in front of you, floating on a white lotus, right? But or a haruka for that matter. But you can apply that to every single moment. To this moment. There is no other moment, is there? To this moment, if you apply this teaching, this insight, and recognize whatever you are going through right now, this experience, this sound you're hearing, whether it's my voice or something else that is in the background, birds chirping, or your AC humming, or whatever it is that you're hearing, this sight, this feeling of being in your body, not separating them, but all of them adding to your experience right now. Most importantly, your awareness of this experience itself, which is holding all this together in its space. Do you feel that? If you recognize that as divinity, if you recognize this as divinity, the totality of your experience right now wakes you up. No special technique needed. It's very simple. Recognition is liberation. Wow. Wow. Simple. So simple. And apply it to everything that comes up in your consciousness, every moment. The beauty of it touches you. When you recognize the divinity in anything, no matter how ugly it may look to our judgmental mind, which tends to label, divide, judge, and call names, whatever. If you reframe that from this perspective and see how everything has divinity within it, beauty within it. Wow. Wow. Just in a snap of a finger. Satori. Instant liberation. Samadhi. Because this is only possible because your true nature is already divine nature, right? Your true nature is enlightenment. Everything is divine already. That is the truth. This is just a recognition of the truth and practicing it every moment. The truth of everything has Buddha nature. Everyone has Buddha nature. It's an application of that reality. And then you will recognize no matter who, what, when, whether you like it or not. Whether your ego finds that situation happy or sad, beautiful or ugly, or all these combination of dualities, doesn't matter. Because you will see that everything is God. There is nobody else, there is nothing else. And as you practice that, it will draw you inward. As you practice that, everything starts shifting. As you practice that, something in you starts sinking within. Becoming quieter. Going inward into itself. Awareness which was like being drawn out here and there, running around. It recognizes itself in everything. Your divinity seeing itself mirrored back, being reflected in everything, every moment. And because of that mirroring, it sees itself, oh, this is who I am. I recognize myself. And the liberation happens because we think we are separate normally, and now we realize we are not separate. All the false ideas of, oh, I, me, mine, and that other, this other. The sense of separation of the ego. The veil is seen through. Is lifted. Whew. Because of the lifting of the veil, reality becomes more and more and more apparent. And you start Taking all of this inward. Hmm. And there is bliss, and there is joy, and there is peace, and there is love, and there is freedom. Recognition is liberation. Stay with that. Then you may laugh, then you may cry, tears of joy, then you may go through whatever situation. And then you remind yourself again. You should be vigilant, because the ego mind then tries to come up and tries to create another illusion of separation. The Buddha called this the architect. It's like the builder of illusion. The builder of sense of separation, Maya. When you notice, like, I see what you're doing there. And then you still again recognize that as divinity too. And you're like, I see myself reflected back again. Liberation. And you just keep doing that. Just keep doing that. Go deeper and deeper and deeper. Everything else just takes care of itself. Somehow, I don't know how this happens, but the doer, like the talker right now who's talking, doesn't have to be bothered. Just talks. I don't know how. The doer just does. But you're not the doer. You're not the talker. You're not the thinker. You're not the storyteller. You're not the commentator in your mind. And but you recognize all that as divinity too. So what happens? They just take care of themselves, and you simply be, like Ramana Maharshi said, Chummairu. This state is induced by this recognition that you simply are. You simply are. The doing is taking place, the things just spontaneously happen. Effort, if needed, is efforted. And you simply are as awareness of all of this. And eventually you'll see that all of this is happening within your awareness, and there is no separation there too. All the senses are kind of drawn inward into that awareness. Nothing else, no one else. Only God remains without separation. Wonderful. If you find it hard to do this by yourself, I'm here for you. I have a community of spiritually awakening beings who support each other, who I hold space for and support with my teachings, with my transmissions of awareness, and all these wonderful tools, and my mentorship. So if you find it hard to do this by yourself, feel free to reach out. I have a link in the description where you can reach out to me, on my website, and I have a lot of free resources also that you can learn from. But if you want to watch another video where I talk about how only God exists, there is no one else, nothing else, you can watch that right here. Thank you. Namaste.